The iPhone 18 Pro costs $1,099. That number is a lie, not a rounding error, not a technicality, a deliberate, carefully engineered illusion, and Apple is counting on you not doing the math because the real price of this phone is something every single review you've seen has completely ignored. And by the end of this, you're going to know exactly what that number is. The iPhone 18 Pro is arriving September 2026. And on paper, it looks like the most impressive iPhone Apple has ever built, a 20 Pro chip, 2 nanometer process, Apple's first ever, variable aperture camera, under display Face ID components, a completely new C2 modem ditching Qualcomm for good. But there's a conversation happening around this phone that nobody in tech YouTube is having, and I think it changes how you should think about every single upgrade decision you make from here on out. So the hardware, then the AI, then the number Apple really doesn't want you to calculate. Let's start with what's real. The A20 Pro is Apple's first chip built on a 2 nanometer process, roughly 15% faster performance while using 30% less power than last year's chip. That's not marketing language. That's a measurable efficiency jump. And it matters because this chip is doing something no iPhone chip before it has had to do. It's running AI locally, constantly in the background while you're doing everything else. The iPhone 18 Pro ships with 12 gigabytes of RAM. That RAM bump is not an accident. To run advanced generative AI models directly on the device, Apple is increasing standard system memory. Your phone is basically carrying a small AI server in your pocket now, which sounds cool until you find out who's paying for the bigger server. That's coming. Give me a minute. Now the camera. The iPhone 18 Pro is set to introduce a variable aperture lens, giving users finer control over depth of field and light intake. This is a feature that professional cinema cameras have had for decades. The idea that it's now on a phone you pull out of your jeans pocket is genuinely impressive. You can manually adjust how much light hits the sensor. No more blown out skies, no more guessing games in mixed lighting. Your iPhone just became a camera that responds to you, not the other way around. And the display, the iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max are expected to feature new LTPO plus display technology, ensuring higher refresh rates and less power consumption. Reports suggest a massive jump in brightness from the current 1600 nits HDR and 3000 nits peak. That's not a spec sheet flex. That's the difference between squinting at your phone on a beach in July and actually being able to read it. And the modem. Apple is making a major shift to its in-house C2 modem, second generation custom 5G. This should deliver better network stability, stronger signals, faster speeds, and reduced battery drain on 5G. No more Qualcomm. Apple controls the entire stack now. That's not nothing. Okay, here's where it gets interesting. The iPhone 18 Pro is likely to come with iOS 27 out of the box, and the new operating system is said to bring liquid glass refinements and a context-aware Siri update. The new brain of Siri may be powered by a custom Gemini large language model with a standalone app that looks like a chat app, allowing you to re-enter previous conversations similarly to ChatGPT or Gemini. So Apple is building a version of ChatGPT, but with Siri's name on it and Google's brain powering it and Apple's logo on the outside. That's either genius or a very expensive identity crisis. We'll find out in September. But here's the thing nobody is talking about. The broader rollout of Apple Intelligence will also move some tasks to the cloud. Apple's private cloud compute is designed to preserve user anonymity, but AI server costs are rising across the industry. Every time you ask Apple Intelligence to do something complex, something that the A20 Pro can't handle locally, it hits a server, Apple's server, that Apple is paying for, that you are eventually going to pay for. And this is the part I want you to actually sit with. The iPhone 18 Pro's retail price is expected to remain at $1,099. Good, great, familiar. But here's what Apple's accounting team already knows that yours probably doesn't. Higher component costs, a more expensive camera system, AI server expenses, and subscription-based Apple Intelligence services all shift more of the iPhone's cost beyond the initial purchase. Let's do the math. The new variable aperture camera technology cost 50% more than the iPhone 17 Pro lens, 50% more for one component. Apple supplier TSMC has apparently told Apple that 2 nanometer chip pricing will be at least 50% higher than 3 nanometer processors because of the cost of manufacturing and equipment. So, camera component 50% more expensive, chip 50% more expensive to manufacture, and Apple is holding the price at $1,099, which is either incredibly generous or the setup for something else. AI server costs are rising across the industry. Apple is expected to carry those costs during the launch window before recovering them through services over the device's lifetime. There it is. Apple absorbs the cost up front, sells you the phone at the same price, and then, slowly, quietly, the services start. Apple One already bundles services including Apple Music, Apple TV, iCloud storage, and more, often with a free introductory trial before monthly billing begins. Apple Intelligence services are expected to follow similar path: free trial, then the bill. A new AI-focused service could cost consumers $15 a month to fully realize AI on their smartphones. That would add roughly $100 to $150 in first-year revenue per customer, helping offset lower hardware margins. So your $1,099 iPhone becomes a $1,249 iPhone in year one, and a $1,399 iPhone in year two, without Apple ever changing the sticker. That's not a conspiracy theory, that's the business model. And for the record, this is exactly what happened with cloud storage, free for the first 5 gigabytes, then 99 cents a month, then $2.99, then $9.99 for the family plan. Then you're just paying it every month, and you stopped thinking about it 18 months ago. Apple's playing the long game. They've always been playing the long game. Okay, so let's be direct. If you typically buy a Pro model and upgrade annually, September 2026 is a strong year to upgrade the 2 nanometer chip, C2 modem, and under display. Face ID represent a genuine generational leap. That's real. This isn't a minor refresh. If you're on an iPhone 15 Pro or older, this is a meaningful jump. The iPhone 18 Pro is expected in September 2026 with significant upgrades, including a smaller dynamic island through under-display Face ID technology. Key improvements include Apple's new A20 chip on 2 nanometer process, delivering 15% faster performance, variable aperture cameras, a 24 megapixel front camera, and full satellite internet connectivity. Full satellite internet, not emergency only. While the iPhone has offered satellite connectivity for emergency situations for years, this would allow the iPhone 18 models to have full internet access via satellite, not just emergency services. As of April 2026, it looks like Apple is teaming up with Amazon to provide this service. Your iPhone now connects to Amazon satellites when there's no cell signal. That's either the most useful thing Apple has ever added or the most interesting way Jeff Bezos has ever entered your pocket. But here's who should wait. If you prefer the standard model, waiting until spring 2027 is the right call. And if you're on an iPhone 16 Pro, honestly, the hardware delta doesn't justify the total cost of ownership increase. Not if AI subscriptions are coming, not if you're going to spend $150 more per year for the full intelligence suite. The math doesn't math. Here's where I land. The iPhone 18 Pro is a genuinely impressive piece of hardware. The 2 nanometer chip is real. The variable aperture camera is real. The C2 modem is real. The satellite internet is real, but the $1,099 price tag is a starting point, like not a final answer. Apple is doing something it's never done at this scale before. It's building the iPhone into a platform with hardware and recurring software revenue, the same way it did with iCloud, the same way it did with Apple Music. And that's not inherently bad. AI costs money to run, real money, server money, but you deserve to know that before you tap your card in September. Because the question isn't whether the iPhone 18 Pro is worth $1,099. The question is whether it's worth $1,099 plus whatever comes after. And that answer is going to depend entirely on how deep Apple goes with the paywall. I'm going to revisit this the moment Apple announces subscription pricing at the event, because that's the number that actually matters. And I want to be the first one to do that math publicly. If you want to see that breakdown the second it drops, you know what to do. Apple called removing the headphone jack courage. I wonder what they'll call the AI subscription fee.